Hello, hello, friends. You are listening to the We Rise Together podcast. This is a weekly podcast where 5 women have come together to help you and encourage you to living the best life that you could possibly live. We base all of our life on certain areas, and that's what this podcast is about. We hold each other up. We encourage ourselves and others in all the areas of life that need to be loved and taken care of. Areas like your finances and your faith, your family and your friends. We don't leave out fun, and we definitely don't leave out what we do for a living. So I hope you will join us every single week right here on this podcast. If you want to see us live, you can find us on YouTube. If you want to get to know us better and be a part of our community, please go over to Facebook. You can find the link in the description of this video. We have a Facebook group called We Rise Together, and we would love to have you join us in that group. So join us every single week right here, and don't forget, life is better when we rise together. Hey, friends. Hi, how's everybody doing? Okay, so I am so excited that you have decided to join us on episode 3. Just kidding. That's 3. Yep, I'm okay. Episode 3 of our podcast as we cast our vision for 2023. This is one of my very favorite times of year. In case you don't know me, let me back up. In case this is your first time hearing this, my name's Corey. I am one of 5 of these beautiful women that have created this podcast for you. And we go through life together, you guys. We go through life. We love life. We build life together. And we want to share all of our life experiences with you. So I'm so glad that you joined us today. This is one of my favorite times of year because this is all about casting your vision of what you want your life to be, what you want your life to look like. And you can make it look like anything you want. That's the beauty of it. Anything in your mind that you want your 2023 to look like, it can look like that. And I want to talk to you a little bit about committing to yourself and actually creating the life that you deserve and how to do that for just a few minutes before I pass it off to one of my dear, lovely women. When you create your list and you look at what you want and you write your goals and you do your brain dump, I do a brain dump every single year. I write down exactly what I want, and I go through that list when I do my brain dump. I go through that list and I actually sit with that, each and every item. And I think about how I feel about that and what it's going to actually look like, right? I envision it. You've heard that before, I'm sure, that you envision your future. Well, I envision what it looks like. And I do something a little bit different that maybe everybody does. I don't know. I guess I haven't really talked to these guys about how they do their vision casting. But what I do is the first thought in my mind for each item. So I want a new car, right? So I wrote down Toyota 4Runner on my vision board and on my vision casting for 2023. So on that, I literally I say to myself, I want a 4Runner. And then I envision what it's going to be like to have that. And I actually get my journal out and I write down exactly what positive thoughts and what negative thoughts I have about that item on that list. And I do it for each and every item on my list. And the reason that I do is because the minute you start wanting something that your mind, your primitive mind thinks is out of your reach or thinks is going to disrupt your life, your safe and secure life, right? the first time that you actually reach for something that you think is out of your reach, your primitive mind is going to go, nope. And it's going to give you that negative thought process. So I always write that down, and that so that when that comes up, I know how to combat that thought. Because here's the thing, thoughts are a choice, right? And my mind's gonna be like, oh, you're never gonna be able to get that. You're never gonna have that because you don't have that now. So that's true. That's real, right? Well, that may be true and real that I don't have that now, but I can choose to think the thoughts about having the items and designing the life that I want for myself. And I rewrite my story in that moment. And what that does is, first of all, it's great for right now, right? It's great for when I'm casting my visions, but it's also great 6 months from now. Because 6 months from now, I'm either going to look back at that and I'm going to say, oh, I got that. Check. Yay. I got that item. Yay me. I did that course. Yay me. I created that business. Yay me. Or I'm going to look back and I'm going to be in a place where I'm doubting myself. And I can look back on what I wrote in my journal and say to my, and look at how I actually felt at the time that I casted that vision. So that's one thing, extra step that I take when I do my vision boards or I do my annual, vision casting for myself and for my future. I want to know what everybody else thinks. And honestly, your opinions on that would be really cool to hear. So I'm going to pick out eeny, meeny, miny, mo, Greta. Go.
I kind of knew you were going to do that. Um, that's very cool. I love that idea. I think I'm going to use that as well. Typically, what I usually do is I sit down and create a vision board. And I used to do it many different ways. I used to do it digitally on my computer, which looks very pretty. It's one page, you print it out. It's awesome. But there's something missing when you do that. You kind of are missing this whole connection to when you're actually see a picture and you want to cut it out, and or a word or something that inspires you, a quote or something like that. And I think there's an emotional attachment to that. There's an emotional piece that's missing. So I decided this year, I did mine digital last year, and I look at it every day. But this year I'm going to go back and do an actual physical cutting out and, getting all your pieces together. And again, it was more like what speaks to me, what I want to achieve for the next year. And this year I decided I've been looking for a word for the whole next year. And I never actually did this before. I know a lot of people pick a word for the year and they go with it. And it never really was a thing for me. But this year it was like right in my face. The word just kept coming. So, and it fits in well with this. So I kind of wanted to put my vision board together according with the 5 F's that we all are working on. So, family, uh, faith, fitness, finances, and friends. And the one word that kept coming to me for next year is faith. And I kind of was like, well, I have faith. I have my spiritual faith. I have my faith in lots of different things, right? And it kind of brought it to my attention that definitely faith in God is like big thing for me, but also faith in myself, which was always missing. And when it kept coming, we went hiking the other day, and I kept thinking about this word, and I'm like, I don't know if faith is my word, but it just kept coming back, and it just kept coming back saying, it's about you. You need to believe in yourself. You need to have faith in yourself. Just like I have faith in God, God will provide for us, but I also have to have faith in myself. So my vision board is going to be all around that whole thing. And it gets me a little bit emotional and that's why I know it's a right word, because I never felt like that. I've always kind of picked a word, but I was like, 2 weeks later, I didn't even remember what my word was. Right? So it's kind of pointless, right? It just never really spoke to me that way. And this year something's changed. So I think definitely having faith in myself. Again, faith in my family that they're there to support me. They're there to, walk along with me. Faith in my community and friends, right? That's a big one. That's a part that I was missing as well. I had a big community and a lot of friends, but it wasn't something that I could put that word faith to, right? It's that I don't know what it is. Like I can't even explain it. It's kind of deeper in me that when I think of my friends and my community, faith is a big word that comes up as well. And again, having faith in people that are around me and the people that I choose to surround myself with, right? That's a big difference than, just having a lot of friends. But when you actually choose the people that you want to have around you, it's changes a lot of things in your life. So that's kind of where I'm going with my goals. My goals will all be um, kind of um, written, or I guess um, they will come to me along with that whole faith word, right? And I'm kind of excited for this because this is very different, that very different approach to what I've done in the past. And even though I look at my vision board every day, there's no connection to it. Whereas once you start having that emotional bond with what you want to achieve for the next year, that changes a lot of things. So, um, Carrie, you're shaking your head. I know you have something to add to that because we kind of jive on the same wavelength here.
Yeah, actually, when you're talking about vision board, my vision board, my grandsons played with it and kind of got it all scattered and tattered. So I kind of chucked it. But it was really funny because we ended up having to buy a truck here a little while ago. We just were short a pickup truck. And when my son sent me the picture of it, it occurred to me that was the exact, I mean, I'm talking the exact, guys, the truck that was on my vision board. And then when I realized that, I went, also, there was a bathtub that I had on there, big soaker tub. It's actually sitting here waiting to go into our ensuite bathroom. So those are two things that were off of last year's vision board that came true. So I'm like you, I have to make a new vision board, but I did the digital one, and I'm going to agree with you, Greta. I like to really picture your vision in your mind, what you want, and then go find it. You need to be able to see it in your mind as a movie, right? So when you look at that, it is what it is. And I think I kept seeing those things over and over, and I guess, I mean, there they were. So I think the vision board that you do yourself and you look at it. I had an easel, not really an easel, like a three-legged thing with a kind of like an easel that I set my vision board on. And actually what I did is I went to a dollar store, a Dollarama store, and I bought a thing that you would paint on, like a canvas. And that's what I used to stick it works really well. So if you're looking for ideas for a vision board, you know what, you guys, maybe that's what podcast we do is about vision boards, right? But to continue on with that, in one of my coaching courses that I'm taking, Chris talks about making your end vision first and then figuring out how you're going to get to that end vision. So your end vision, you can have like a monthly end vision, you can have a yearly one, or you can have a 5-year plan. And that's kind of what I've been doing, is where do I see myself in a month from now, which is always a little bit shorter, right? Like, maybe I'll have conquered not eating bread for 30 days or whatever that vision is. But where do you see yourself in 5 years? That's the big thing. Where do you want to be in 5 years? So when you can picture where you want to be in 5 years and have it go through your mind like a movie, that's when you got it. And then take it and fill in how you're going to get there. How are you going to get to that 5-year plan, right? But I've been taught with this last course I'm taking with Chris that don't focus on the steps to get you to your vision. Focus on your vision. And that's kind of what Corey said too, right? Like focus on that part of it. know how you're going to get there and put those steps in play and then do those things. But your focus should always be your end vision. How do you want to do that? So that's kind of what I need to do now, is really kind of revamp my 5-year vision. And a lot of, I think, why I have to kind of redo that, and maybe this is for a lot of us, is just the world's kind of been crazy for the last couple of years. So where I 2 years ago, where I thought I wanted to be in 5 years, I don't think it's the same anymore. It just isn't. And it can't be, because of all of the changes that have taken place in the world. So that's a big one for me, is creating that, where do I want to be in 5 years? And I've come to one conclusion through this Alberta winter. It's going to be somewhere south of Corey. But a few things, I've seen this actually on a social media post, and I took some of it and I thought this would be great to do every day, because I think part of that in between thing, doing the things to get to your 5-year vision or your year vision, just talk about 365 days, it starts every morning when you wake up. So what are you going to do every single day to get you to that vision? And that's where I was lacking, right? So here's a few things that I wrote them down, because I'm actually starting that in my little black book, wherever it is. But one is wake up at 6 a.m. The other thing, and you mentioned this too, Corey, is brain dumping for the year. I'm going to brain dump every night. I read an article on that, you guys. It's a big deal. So every night before I go to bed, I'm going to write my brain dump down. It's over, it's done, right? I'm also going to read half an hour. I'm going to go to bed at 9:30. I'm going to read for half an hour, and I'm not going to read anything that has any substance to it, to shut off my brain. It might be a Nora Roberts romance novel. I'm not sure, but it's not going to be, the entrepreneur, the self-help. It's not going to be about, business, which is a lot of books what I read, right? So that's one thing I'm going to do. For an hour a day, I'm going to learn a new skill. So right now, I know what that is. It's finishing my certification course. But after that, it's maybe, maybe I'm going to jump on with one of Joe's things, where I'm going to learn Canva. I'm going to learn these new skills. And then I'm going to spend a half a day doing exercise. Hopefully can increase that to an hour. Greta, you've been an inspiration with that. Meditate 10 minutes every morning, plus sit in silence for 10 minutes. Besides the meditation, I actually meditate quite a bit. Yes, Corey?
Did you just say half a day of exercise?
No, half
Because I'm
hour.
pretty
When
sure
I
you
say
just
half
said
a day, I
half a
meant a
day.
half hour a day.
I was like, whoa.
I'll be lucky if I get the half hour done, not a half day. No, half hour per day of exercise. 30 minutes in nature, that's easy for me, because I do go outside and I walk every day. But you know what, you guys, it's really important. And I think there's some people that probably struggle with that in time-wise, is to get out into nature every day. But I think it's a big deal. It's super important. And just to read half hour, 20 minutes, whatever you can do, read something every day. So those are some of the things that I'm going to implement to help get myself into a routine daily. Now, those aren't specifically going to get me to my end vision, but they're going to contribute to what I do every day that'll get me to my end vision. So that's kind of where I'm at.
So Carrie, I absolutely love it how like you referenced yours to a movie, because I've been thinking about this the last couple of weeks, and I, every year set these goals, or, I actually haven't did a vision board probably now for probably like 6 years. But, you think of the goals and resolutions, and I'm like, I was like looking at it as a book, because since we started this podcast, even going back to like our biography, I'm like, when you reflect back on life of all the different things you've actually went through that people might not know,
Right.
There's like a lot of stuff. And so I'm like, I feel like I'm stuck. I've been stuck in the hamster wheel in the middle of this book, and it's like you have all these ideas, you have all these plans, but it's like, okay, so now like I see how I would love my vision for 2023, but what am I going to action daily? What am I going to action weekly? What am I going to action monthly? Because maybe sometimes once a day, you have a whole day plan, but maybe sometimes maybe just getting out of bed at 6:30 in the morning for me could be a huge life changing. Not saying I don't get out of bed early, but as an example, I remember back in one of my businesses before when I had made the goal, like to build it up and whatnot. And I did that. I had specific routines each day where I did make myself get up earlier. I did make myself read at night. And I think then, since I'm just getting back into this after having three boys under six, where now I need to put some of those priorities back for myself. Like, because I'm busy with them from 8 to whenever they go to bed. Like, I have to hide in corners and stuff. So I think for me personally, for my time, like to go to a gym or the reading, like I'm definitely going to have to block it. I love the idea too. Like I really do believe getting it on paper, getting the magazines out, going to a coffee shop, whatever, even, seeing it on your phone now and you can print it to a printer right away, different pictures or different things on the vision board. And I agree too, go big and find your way to get there. And don't ever let anybody squash your dreams. I remember I had attended a vision board class, previously, and I didn't know what was happening, and I just kept moving up ranks and ranks, and I didn't know at the time. And so I had really big goals, and I remember one of the upline people came to me and she's like, "But you need to be realistic." And it's like, then that like shot me down. So then I thought, well, okay, realistically. And so I put that down and I never got past that. Never got past it. I mean, so, believe in your goals and dreams. And when you're casting your vision for this year, whatever it may be, I mean, go for the sky. Don't set limits. And with that, I bet that Joanne has some amazing organized tips that will probably help me along. But I do like doing the picture one too and having the board there to look at all the time. And it really is like amazing too, going back and seeing those things you can check off, because it really does happen when you do it and believe in it. It's crazy, and put the action towards it. Right. So yeah, my friends, there you go.
Well, I think it's amazing listening to all of you ladies. I've picked up quite a few tips and excuse me, love hearing what you do, and I will be implementing some of it. And as I was sitting listening to you, my topic, I'm like, it just fits in even nice, neater with everything, because it's wonderful to have all of these 5-year goals and goals. And they don't have to be realistic. They can be as big as you want, like Krista said, but it's the little ones, like Carrie talked about, to get us there that we need to focus on a little bit, because they're the ones, the day after day, week after week, month after month, that will get us closer and closer. And I've learned about this specific type of goal or way to create a goal a few times over the last, 15, 20 years. And this last year, it really clicked. The light bulb really clicked why they have to be, or that this type of goal is the way it is. And they're called SMART goals, and you may or may not have heard about them. The very first time I heard them called SMART goals, I was thinking smart, intelligent, brainy, and I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense. But what SMART means is they're specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're realistic, and they're timely. And I know that realistic is in there, Krista, so hopefully this isn't going to stop you, but these SMART goals can help you set yourself up for success, rather than being very vague with no direction, with nothing to guide you, no way to know if you're actually succeeding or not. So again, specific, so they're well defined, they're clear, right? You've nailed it. You know what you want. They're measurable. There's a way to go, yep, check, check, check. Even if it's part, doesn't have to be the whole thing. It can be partial. And they're achievable. Like, are you setting yourself up, especially for shorter term goals? Are you setting yourself up for failure, or is it something that you can actually attain? Realistic. There is kind of a fine line around that word realistic. It can be like a wet blanket, like happened to Krista, but you do need to, go like, well, I want to lose weight. Well, I want to lose 10 pounds a week. Well, that's not realistic, right? So that's how I view it. And then timely. Make sure you give yourself that beginning and end time. Because if you say, I want to lose 10 pounds, it's, well, yeah, you can do that over a year or, a week or whatever. So going into each one of those a little bit deeper, specific, think of the 5 W's, the who, what, where, when, and the why. And answer those questions. That helps you specify it. Who's going to help you? Why are you doing it? What are you going to do? Where are you going to do it? And when, what kind of a timeline are you looking at? So let's just say, let's keep on the weight. I want to get in shape. That's pretty vague. There's no specificity to that. There's nothing to it. But if you say, I want to obtain a gym membership at my local community center and work out 4 days a week to be healthier, you've got the what, you've got the where, you've got the, the when, and the why. So there's those. Measurable. It's a way to check it off, like I said. So adding to that, you could say every week I will aim to lose 1 pound a week. That's pretty achievable. And you, at the end of every week, you can step on that scale and go check or X, right? It's a way to measure it. Is it achievable? Like I said, you don't want to put down, you want to lose 10 pounds a week, because you know that that's just not achievable at all. And it sets you up for failure. And then you go, well, there it goes. And then you just walk away from your goal. And that's not what we want to do. We want to be successful. We want to be, we want these to work for us. We want to get to that 5-year point. We want to get to that 1-year point, that 3-month point, month point, whatever it is you set it for. Realistic, again, is it realistic? Is it within reach? Do you have the time? Do you have the resources? Can you are you able to commit to achieving this goal? That's something else too. Like, make sure that you're willing to do what it takes to do this goal. And then timely, again, if you don't put an end date on it, there's no sense of urgency. And we all heard last night, I think we were all on the same call, where sense of urgency is kind of key in goals. Because if there's no sense of urgency, then we just let them slide and we really never end up completing them or reaching our goals. So if we take the whole, I want to get in shape from the beginning, and we switch it into a SMART goal, it's by August 1st, I will obtain a gym membership at my local community center. In order to be healthier, I will work out 4 days a week. I will aim to lose 1 pound of body fat. By the end of the year, I will have realized my goal. The end of the month, I will realize my goal if I lose 4 pounds fat over in the month, right? So there's specifics of where, how, when, how much, what, the whole thing. It's important to have that. It's like a roadmap. You need to know what you're going to do for this goal, not just some airy-fairy out there. And I will be the first one to admit that I have done that before. I've made these airy-fairy goals and then say, well, goal setting doesn't work because I didn't do it right. I didn't put the emotion into it. I didn't put the thought into it to figure out the who, when, why, where. Why is a big one, right? All the ladies have sort of mentioned it, but you have to know why you're doing it and that it is actually for you. And you can make this, make a 5-year goal and then make 1-year goals, and they can all fit nice, neatly inside. So hopefully that was kind of organized tips enough, Krista. And I like having sort of when I first started doing this, it was like, well, I don't know how to goal set. And obviously, because I didn't succeed at some of them, I didn't. And then when I really started looking at this, I'm like, this makes sense. It really makes sense. And so my 2023 goals, I will be sitting down and applying this to them and making sure that I've kind of filled in all the 5 parts. So, and with that, I'll pass it back to Carrie so she can close us out.
Yeah, goals, achievable goals are super important, because you know what, you need to set yourself up for success, not failure. That's just as humans, how we work, right? That's how the emotion of us works. So, you know what, I think that all 5 of us will probably be putting some tips and tricks into the We Rise Facebook group in terms of, vision setting for 2023, setting goals, doing that. So check out that Facebook group, We Rise Together. It's in the show notes on the podcast. Just search Facebook or find one of us and we'll get you in there. So, because there's more than just that in there, but definitely going to be putting some of that stuff in there. Okay, now our next podcast is titled Hooked on a Feeling. So we want you to join us with that as we talk about hooked on a feeling. We're not going to tell you what that is. So we want you to join us. And what date is that, girls? I think it's January 9th, right? January 9th is the next one after this one. This one airs on January 2nd. And the next one is January 9th, Hooked on a Feeling. And we're going to wrap it up. And remember, everybody, we rise together. Thanks for joining us. Well, that's a wrap for this episode. We are so grateful you joined us as we discuss our experiences on our life's paths. Our vision, no matter where you are in your life path, is to add value to your life by sharing ours. You can find more incredible resources in our We Rise Together Facebook group. We'll leave the link posted in the show notes at the bottom. And until next time, we appreciate you, and remember, we rise together.